Hi, this is Anna Crowe with Crowe PR, and I'm so excited to be sitting down today with Chris Lynch, co-founder of Everyday California. We are here in the beautiful La Jolla location at Everyday California, and we're going to talk about the last 10 years and what's in store for this incredible ocean lifestyle and apparel brand. I'm so excited to sit down with Chris Lynch from Everyday California. You guys have been a client of Crowe PR for 10 years. 10 years.
10 years.
It'll be 10 in May.
Yep, it'll be 10
yes,
years. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And when we started working together 10 years ago, you guys were an ocean adventure company really focused on kayaking,
Yes.
right? As a primary service offering.
Yeah, that was it.
So tell us about the company and where you've come from there.
Yeah, so we started as a kayaking company, and we were a couple of guys with a pickup truck, some kayaks, an old iPad, running everything out of a storage unit, basically. Since then, we've grown. We have upwards of 100 employees each year. We do kayaking, paddleboarding, surfing, snorkeling, tours, lessons, rentals, kids camps. And then we also do men's, women's, and kids apparel. The brand launched in 2012, but we have now been in business as an adventure company for 15 years.
Amazing. So you mentioned a few things you guys are offering. That's not your core message that we worked on.
Yeah.
So tell us what that is.
We are an ocean adventure and lifestyle brand. And
yes. Amazing. And it's incredible. When I travel, I get to see Everyday California products everywhere now. So you're in a lot of retail locations too, right?
Yeah, we're in 200 plus retail locations now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then over the years, since we've worked together, we've done PR, we've done influencer marketing, we've taken reporters out on the water, over here on the beautiful coastline. What are we, 4 blocks from the beach?
Yeah, we're just a couple blocks.
Yeah.
So La Jolla Shores is right down here.
Amazing. And so we've gone through a few product launches. Mm-hmm. We've done a waterproof hat, right? We've done a lot of apparel, kids, women's, etc. We've dabbled in beer and juice. Tell us a little bit about some of those products that have worked really well and you continue to sell today, and then some of the experiments that you've done over the years.
Yeah, so I'd say our first big PR win and a product launch was our floating waterproof hat, which we had in GQ, we had it in men's fitness, like it was all over the place.
I think it was the world's first.
The world's first floating waterproof hat.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if I can claim that, but we will.
We did.
We'll try. And then we've also had some products that didn't work out the way we wanted, right? Like we had a sunscreen that was environmentally friendly, and it's hard because a product like that needs to touch on everything we want to do with the environment. And it's not exactly a great sunscreen to wear at a Vegas pool party. So distribution can be an issue, and order volumes, and not everything that we do is going to be a win. And you just got to keep moving forward.
Too much coverage for Vegas.
Too much coverage for Vegas.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to look like a ghost when you're
So speaking of sustainability, I know Earth Day is coming up, and we're talking about it. You guys started with 1% for the planet, and then you also have sustainability as a key pillar. Tell us why that's important.
It's important for us because the company started, like we said, as an adventure company. And so we live every day, and the majority of our employees in the ocean. And we have to take care of that environment because it's literally where we are every single day. I mean, we're an eco-tourist company, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't have anything powered. We've turned down expansion opportunities because we don't want to do jet skis. We don't want to rent boats. Like everything we do is paddleboarding, it's kayaking, it's surfing. So
over the years you've grown by a certain percentage every year.
Yes.
Ever since we started working together, double-digit growth for the last 10 years, I would say, and more, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the lessons that you learned in that growth? Some of the things that you're like, yes, love that, embrace that, and some of the harder lessons?
Focus on what you do best. We decided when we opened this new flagship store that we were going to create a juice bar. So we created an entire brand, and we brought in a full team, and we essentially cut off half of our flagship location and created an entirely new concept of a juice bar. Turns out we're not great at the restaurant business, and that was a huge lesson. But after 1 year of being open, we looked around, and we always have our quarterly and yearly meetings, and we said, okay, where are we spending the most of our time, and where are we making money, where are we not making money? And we shut the juice bar down 5 days later, and now our store's bigger.
And I know this location didn't even exist when we started working together. We were across the street, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the things that are selling really well and are performing, what are some of your legendary products and services.
Well, it's funny, our staple, or what we call evergreen products, with the bear holding the surfboard, are really some of our best sellers still to this day. We cater towards a very, I would say, eclectic market, right? But we have a lot of touristy products, and I don't want to call it a touristy product, but just the bear with the flag, like that has been sold in our store, in airports, in hotels, like in resorts, like all over the place. So distribution of our evergreen and staple products is really a big thing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's such a big part of your logo and the brand.
Yeah.
But I know we have a lot of marketers who watch this video series. Tell me about the brand, Everyday California. When we started working together, you guys were OEX.
Yeah.
And I remember we met at the opening of Hotel La Jolla, and you were competing and continue to compete with 4 other kayak companies, right? You started as predominantly kayak companies.
Yeah.
How did this evolve into Everyday California?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. We looked around and we said, okay, there's 4 other companies doing the exact same thing. What can we do differently? And that was how we ended up creating the brand and the name Everyday California, because our competitors all have kayak in their name or bike in their name. And, I don't want to say everybody's company name, but we stand out very much because when we started, looked at the opportunity and said, okay, we get to take all these people out on the ocean. We get to go in La Jolla. We get to have everybody experience this amazing place with us. But how can we create a brand and an image around that they'll not only experience here, but that they can take home with them? And that's when we started making apparel. And that's when we really became a lifestyle brand, and why we kind of reach out and do all these cool projects like the beer, like the sunscreen. We're always trying new things just to build the brand up and make it fun, really. It's supposed to be about having fun.
Absolutely. Well, and I love that. You could take a little piece of California home with you.
Which is our tagline, is make fun happen, which we trademarked just last year.
Amazing. Congrats. And then I would also be remiss not to mention the real estate. For those of you who haven't been here, you pull into La Jolla Shores and you guys have both sides of the street with some branding, which is an incredible marketing thing as well,
Absolutely.
Right? So let's talk about brand extension. Okay. You guys started with kayaking, you were out in the ocean, and then surf lessons quickly followed. And then now, as we talked about, there's apparel all over the world. You've got hats, t-shirts, pants, everything, you name it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little about that extension? What made you want to go into new categories and continue to innovate and elevate across different product ranges?
Yeah. Well, I wish I could tell you that it was this light bulb moment and we knew we were going to be an apparel brand. Really didn't happen that way. We just were having so many customers come in, and we needed to figure out a way to essentially grow the brand and grow our business. So that's why we started with just a couple of hats and a couple of t-shirts, and figured, hey, if we can have some of our clients buy our hat that's branded, we can figure this out, right? And once we started to see some success with that, it really opened my eye to the fact that this actually could be a brand that we could compete with the big boys, which we're still trying to this day. And it always reminds me of, I was in Malibu with my mom walking down the street, and there was a Hurley store there. And I remember pointing to that and I said, that's what I want to have one of these days. And we're still driving towards that to create a brand that we can actually expand, globally.
Well, that's a great segue to the market opportunity today.
Yes.
So recent news about...
Yeah, Liberated Brands recently went bankrupt, which you hate to see, especially, in such a small industry. But I will be remiss if I don't say that does open opportunity for us when brands like Billabong and Roxy don't currently have a home, and it opens up the market for smaller brands like us to grow into.
Yeah.
And we're very excited about that.
Absolutely. And I know you guys have done a really great job creating a digital footprint and a digital community, even starting with the tours, with the hashtags and all the things back in the day, right? So tell us a little bit about the importance of having this online presence and a digital community to connect with, to engage with, and to drive sales, throughout the year.
Yeah. It's funny being the young one, not that young anymore, but on the street here in La Jolla with all of our competitors in the adventure space. When we started, we were the only ones really doing Facebook and really doing
MySpace.
Instagram. Yeah, MySpace. And it's always been important to me, especially having grown up around a lot of other brands that started here in San Diego and seeing what they're doing on social media and taking our adventure business and emulating what those brands were doing on social. And that's always been a learning curve for us as well, because sometimes I've really wanted to be X brand or this brand, you know, and copy what they're doing and shy away from what we do on the adventure side because it's not necessarily as cool. But what we found over time is people love our adventure content. Like, who doesn't like to see a sea lion sunbathing? Who doesn't like to see a dolphin jumping? And so now we've really sort of leaned into the adventure side of the business and while also showing a bit of the brand.
Yeah, and you have some great footage for whale watching tours.
Whale watching, yeah. We have whales that are, you know, bumping into kayaks, and every single day out there on the ocean is a different experience. So why not share that with all of our followers and with everything we have going online?
Absolutely, and I think it gives such a great human element to the brand.
Yeah.
Really humanizes the brand, creates a connection for your customers all over the globe, especially being located in such an aspirational part of the world.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the biggest, best coastlines in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, if you, let's say you came out on a tour in May of 24, and now you're sitting at home on Instagram and you see one of our videos or reels, and it's the same tour guide that you had, and now there's a dolphin jumping over their kayak. You know, that's exciting. It's cool.
Absolutely.
You know, you relate to the brand, and we see about 50,000 people a year who come out on the water with us, so there is a large extension of that going on.
Absolutely, love that. Okay, so let's shift gears to talk about entrepreneurship a little bit. Do you have any wisdom, advice to share with people considering starting a business, or maybe who have launched and have one product and are looking to build that vision for their company, looking 5 years out, 10 years out? Anything that comes to mind, and or something you wish you knew when you were at that stage?
Yeah, I wish I knew at that stage how long things took. I think I was very impatient when we first started. I felt like, okay, if we need a website and we need a developer, that developer, as soon as I hire him, is going to start working on it like tomorrow. And that's really not the case. And so it could be to a fault, but I've learned patience through entrepreneurship because I know how long things take. And then I also think on the other side of that, it can be helped, like I can help not trying to make everything perfect, and especially when it comes to our apparel. We have so many revisions and so many rounds and so many different manufacturers and trim suppliers and print shops and everything that are working on this. And we will try and iterate and iterate and iterate and iterate, and sometimes it's too much, and sometimes you just need to ship that product and get it out there and see how it goes rather than trying to make everything perfect.
Right. What's that quote? Perfection is unattainable.
Yeah.
But got to chase that excellence. Okay, so what's next? There's some rumblings about perhaps expanding this brand and this location a little farther north.
Yes, we're very close to opening a location in Huntington Beach, which we're very excited about. And the reason why it's taken us so long to open an additional location is we're looking for a place that can be experiential as well as retail. So I don't think anytime soon you're going to see an Everyday California pop up in your local mall, because that's not really who we are. Huntington Beach, we'd be on Huntington Harbor. We're able to do kayaking. We're able to do paddleboarding. The beach is right across the street. We're able to do surfing. So it brings the same vibe that we have in La Jolla, where when you're coming to see us, you're coming for an activity and you're coming for an experience. You're not necessarily just walking in off the street because you want to buy a t-shirt. I mean, we do have those customers that come in because they follow the brand and they're in town. But our big thing is we want it to be an experience. And our experience is the ocean. It is adventure.
Love that. Okay, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think is important to know about the brand, the company, your vision? Any key learnings?
Key learnings. There's nothing wrong with starting small, I think is a really key lesson. We started with 24 t-shirts and 24 hats. And when we sold those, we made 48. And we sold those and we made 96. And I think that's really important when it comes to building a brand and building a business. And it's something that I focus on still to this day. As an apparel company now, we cannot afford to make big mistakes because you'd be sitting on dead stock, you'd be sitting on inventory, and that's what kills a lot of brands and a lot of companies. So we have no problem with taking our time and doing things methodically to grow over time. And that's why we have had good growth, but you don't see us as more of a hockey stick, right? We're just every year a little bit better, and we're trying to get a little bit more sales and make our clothes a little bit better and design a little bit better. And that just adds up over, we'll be 15 years now in November. Yeah.
Well, it's like that 1% better every day.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the year, you're 37% better.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, I know, I speak for myself and our whole team, we have loved partnering with Everyday California for the last decade.
Yeah.
We're excited for the next 10. And even though we don't have the Everyday California beer anymore, I know we still have some glasses.
We are launching a new beer with Mission Brewing, though.
There we go. Yeah. So we will have it again.
Soon. We'll have it again.
Perfect. Well, we'll have just some other beer for now as a way to celebrate a decade of growth.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for sitting down today.
Appreciate it.